National Football League selection meeting is now in session.
Between 1980 and the turn of the century, the NFL exploded in popularity. The draft blossomed from a behind-the-closed-doors function to a seventh-round made-for-TV event.
Give me a break. That's why the Colts are picking second every year in the draft.
Who in the hell is Mel Kiper, in a way?
The biggest mockery I've ever seen in my entire life.
We could trade a
Hands down, the biggest
I would trade him right now.
So let's take a look back at every number one pick of this era. What happened to those 20 players? We've seen Super Bowl heroes, absolute flops, and everything in between. To start, there's Billy Sims. Taken first by the Lions in 1980, Sims' time in Detroit was as promising as it was brief. In many ways, the predecessor to Barry Sanders, this number 20 stormed out of the gates and into opposing secondaries. In his very first game, Sims racked up 153 yards and 3 scores.
And Billy Sims wide open. There it goes. The magnificent Billy Sims go for his 3rd touchdown. Is he ever for real?
He would earn Rookie of the Year honors, rushing for 1,300 yards and leading all running backs with 631 receiving yards and 16 total touchdowns. The former Heisman winner garnered Pro Bowl nods in each of his first 3 seasons. In 1983, he became a household name when he served up one of history's most entertaining first downs.
Cuts upfield, hurdles over a couple of people.
Oh my goodness, did you see that? He hit Steve Brown with what looked like a karate kick.
That year, Sims helped catapult the Lions to their 2nd straight postseason, but sadly, a brutal knee injury stopped him in his tracks. The 29-year-old retired after just 5 seasons. In 1981, the Saints selected another Heisman rusher atop the draft. George Rogers hit the NFL in stride, leading the league with 1,674 rushing yards, a then rookie record and still a franchise best. He added 13 touchdowns, compiling Rookie of the Year and All-Pro honors.
It's faked and here he goes. George Rogers, he's going to take it all away for the touchdown.
After a historic rookie year, Rodgers' production would falter. He posted another 1,000-yard season, but the Saints shipped him off to Washington in 1985. There, he'd rebound with a stellar campaign for Joe Gibbs. Rodgers rushed for over 1,200 yards and paced the league with 18 scores in 1986. He'd play just one more NFL season, winning Super Bowl 22 with Washington. Our second Sims in 3 years, Kenneth Sims was New England's top choice in 1982. Confident in their veteran quarterback, Steve Grogan, the Patriots opted to bolster their defense with the rookie pass rusher.
Led by their highly prized youngsters, the Patriots racked up 6 sacks of Houston quarterback Archie Manning.
While he fit the mold of the team's new defensive-minded approach, Sims never blossomed. He reached his peak in 1985 with a career-high 5.5 sacks as the Pats appeared in their first ever Super Bowl. But when stars like Mark Gastineau, Lawrence Taylor, and even his own teammate Andre Tippett were racking up 15 sacks a year, Sims' production just didn't cut it. He registered just 74 games and 17 sacks over 8 seasons in New England.
Baltimore selects as the first choice in the draft, quarterback John Elway of Stanford.
John Elway played his entire career in Denver, but in 1983 he was selected first overall by the Baltimore Colts. The cream of the crop in the famed quarterback draft of '83, Elway leveraged his way to the Broncos, beginning one of football's most legendary tenures. In just his 3rd season, he led the league in game-winning drives while throwing for nearly 3,900 yards. In year 4, his Broncos were headed to the Super Bowl.
Elway leads the Broncos 98 yards. Touchdown, Mark Jackson.
By his 5th season, he was league MVP, and the Broncos were again conference champions. But it would take a decade before the future Hall of Famer reached the pinnacle of pro football. Against the Packers in Super Bowl 32, Elway made sure he got his Lombardi.
Elway scrambling, looking, running, diving inside the 5-yard line for a first down. How bad does John Elway want to win this football game?
Denver's going to win it!
This one's for John.
The 38-year-old would go back-to-back, punctuating his career as Super Bowl MVP. In 1984, the USFL threw a wrench in draft plans, snagging future stars like Steve Young and Reggie White just months prior. So the Patriots used their top pick on Irving Fryer, a pretty solid alternative. While he lacked Elway's accolades, his longevity and consistency was just as impressive. By his second year, Fryer was a Pro Bowler, leading the team with 7 touchdown catches and pacing the league with 2 punt return scores. Then, in 1986, he supplied perhaps the play of the season.
Final play. Eason throws it up. It's hanging up in the end zone. They're all up in the air. And it's a touchdown. The Patriots have a touchdown. It's caught in the end zone. Irving Fryer has the ball.
The Nebraska product spent 9 solid years with the Pats, but at age 30, his best production was yet to come. He played 3 seasons in both Miami and Philly, posting consecutive 1,000-yard Pro Bowl seasons for both teams.
Ty Detmer has a long time. And what a catch! One-hand catch by Irving Fryer.
Fryer retired as the only player to score a touchdown in 17 straight seasons and the only player to catch a touchdown from 19 different quarterbacks. Another number 1 pick joined the AFC East when the Bills drafted Bruce Smith in 1985. In year 2, Smith exploded into a bona fide sack master. He amassed 15 sacks in '86, the first of 5 straight seasons with at least 11 sacks. In 1990, Smith delivered a season for the ages, netting 19 sacks and forcing 4 fumbles as the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Meanwhile, the Bills nearly captured a Super Bowl title.
Hostetler under heat, sacked for the safety. Bruce Smith.
And the big guy was just getting started. The future Hall of Famer played 217 games over his 15 years in Buffalo. Smith was Defensive Player of the Year twice and earned 8 first-team All-Pro selections.
Fake. Sacked. Bruce Smith has got him. He's got the record.
Smith's 200 career sacks remain the most in NFL history. He would retire in 2003 at the age of 40. Bo Jackson's career was as quick, powerful, and extraordinary as the player himself. In 1986, the Bucs selected Jackson first overall, but he declined their offer, opting to play baseball full-time. The next year, he was eventually redrafted by the Raiders in the 7th round. Their gamble paid off.
And can Denver stay with Bo Jackson? The answer is no. Bo has another.
The multi-sport phenom had just 555 touches in his 4-year career, but it feels like we remember most of them. As a rookie, he played just 7 games while averaging a ridiculous 7 yards a carry. Who can forget his iconic 221-yard night in Seattle? Bo versus the Boz on Monday Night Football.
And Bo Jackson to the 20 and out in front, and only one man to beat, and easily can't run him down. He had the angle, but there goes Bo, and nobody catches Bo. Touchdown.
He may not stop till Tacoma.
When Bo had the ball, it just didn't seem fair. Despite sharing a backfield with Marcus Allen, Jackson was a Pro Bowler in 1990, and the Raiders were a force. But in their first-round win over the Bengals, Jackson suffered a devastating hip injury. He wouldn't play another game and retired at age 28. On the other end of the durability spectrum, there's Vinny Testaverde. Tampa drafted first again in 1987, and this time their top choice stuck around. Like, really stuck around. Vinny's career spanned 21 seasons, 7 teams, and 4 different U.S. presidents.
Testaverde throws over the top, intercepted. This is Edwards. Touchdown, Minnesota.
While the Miami product was durable, he was also a little erratic. He threw a league-high 35 interceptions his second season and followed that up with 22 more the following year. But his accuracy would steadily improve. After 6 years in Tampa and 3 in Cleveland, Testaverde earned his first Pro Bowl in Baltimore, throwing for 4,100 yards and 33 scores. 2 years later, he landed with the Jets, hitting his stride under Bill Parcells. He was a Pro Bowler in '98 and entered Jets lore with a wild comeback in 2000.
How did he catch that one? Here's Vinny going to the end zone. Can he make the catch? Yes! Fake to Martin, then a dump, and it is juggled and caught!
He'd retire winning 42% of his games, but throwing for over 46,000 yards and 275 touchdowns. The Falcons selected linebacker Andre Bruce with their first pick in 1988. The Auburn stud impressed as a rookie, totaling 70 tackles, 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions.
Erline being chased and on the rollout is tackled and a loss, and it was Andre Bruce.
But his production waned, as did his snap count over the next few years. Bruce had some off-field issues, lost his starting role, and even saw his position change. The Falcons tried Bruce out at tight end to squeeze production out of him. That didn't work, so Bruce hit free agency, heading to the Raiders after the '91 season. The number 1 pick never reached his potential as a Lawrence Taylor-type impact player, but he did play 11 NFL seasons, appearing in 150 games. By 1989, the Cowboys were reeling. Enter Troy Aikman. The top pick in the '89 draft, Aikman was nothing short of a godsend. He struggled at first, going 0-11 his rookie year, but when Emmitt Smith arrived the following season, Aikman locked in. By 1992, the Cowboys were champions again.
Jumping catch at the 3, diving, touchdown! Oh, what a play!
During that '92 season, Aikman notched career highs in passing yards and touchdowns. He threw a record 89 straight playoff passes without an interception and was named Super Bowl MVP. The next season, he was the league's most accurate passer, completing 69% of his passes as Dallas won back-to-back titles. No quarterback won more games from '91 to '96. He went to 6 straight Pro Bowls and won 3 titles as the unquestioned leader of America's team.
They win their 3rd in 4 years.
The future Hall of Famer retired as the Cowboys' all-time passing leader. In 1990, rocket-armed quarterback Jeff George landed in Indianapolis with high expectations, but the top prospect would have a bumpy ride. Despite signing the most lucrative rookie deal at the time, George struggled mightily in his first 3 seasons for the Colts. He threw just 33 touchdowns to 40 interceptions and went 12-26 as a starter.
Here's a throw on first down. It's picked up, and the Patriots might tie the game. George has not been sacked yet today. Look at this! Chris Singleton's on the run. A second defensive touchdown.
Eventually, George was shipped to Atlanta, where he helped the Falcons earn a playoff berth in '95. 2 years later, he was in Oakland, where he led the league in passing.
They pick up the blitz, and George throws it downfield. Caught. Jet. Touchdown.
The Illinois product threw for a league-high 3,917 yards and 29 scores, but the Raiders finished 4-12. In 1999, George put together a memorable season in his lone year with the Vikings. Taking over for Randall Cunningham in Week 7, the 32-year-old went 8-2 and led Minnesota to a playoff win. The number 1 pick turned journeyman played for 5 teams in 12 seasons, going 46-78 as a starter. Russell Maryland was a perfect match for the '90s Cowboys. Their top pick in '91, the Miami prospect, never emerged as a superstar talent, but he had his moments.
Picked off in the air by Russell Maryland.
Big old linemen, they make touchdowns, they just flop.
As a rookie, he recorded 4.5 sacks and forced 3 fumbles. Russell was an interior presence on a rock-solid Dallas defense. He played at least 12 games in each of their Super Bowl seasons and earned his lone Pro Bowl appearance in '93. Maryland didn't quite live up to his top billing, but he stuck around. After his stint in Dallas, he would miss just 1 game over his final 5 seasons. The Colts again found themselves choosing first in 1992. This time, they went with defensive end Steve Entman. The Washington Star led the Huskies to an undefeated championship season and finished 4th in Heisman voting. At first, it seemed like a home run pick.
Steve Entman intercepted.
Look at him go!
Entman has it. This is Steve Entman at 6'4", 290 pounds. He is going to score. Unbelievable!
The clock is out.
But Entman's time in Indy would be marred by injury. The 6'4" lineman finished each of his first 3 seasons on the IR, logging just 14 total games. In '95, he left the Colts and enjoyed 2 injury-free years in Miami. But his career lasted just 6 seasons. By 1998, this number 1 pick was out of the league. Before Tom Brady took over the league, the Pats had this guy.
Bledsoe, long ball, man is open, tips in, touchdown, it's over.
After a near decade of disappointment, New England drafted Drew Bledsoe to do one thing: sling it. Bledsoe led the league in passing in '94, throwing for a then franchise record 4,555 yards. The number 1 pick also led the NFL in pass attempts for 3 consecutive seasons.
Bledsoe. Turn, touchdown. New England wins.
Behind Bledsoe, New England was playoff bound for the first time in 7 seasons, even earning a Super Bowl berth in 1996. In 2001, he inked a then record contract only for a sideline hit to open the door for the Tom Brady era. But the 30-year-old bounced back, signing with the Bills a year later.
Throws, got a man there, Peerless Price, and in for the touchdown. Unbelievable, Peerless Price from Bledsoe.
He earned another Pro Bowl appearance with Buffalo in 2002 and spent his final 2 years in Dallas. Bledsoe retired in 2006 with the 7th most passing yards in NFL history. The reeling Bengals nabbed Dan Wilkinson first overall in the '94 draft. And while the D lineman was never a star, his 13-year career was anything but a bust. Wilkinson was a consistent pass rusher and run stopper, playing all but 3 games for the Bengals. He totaled at least 5 sacks in each of his 4 seasons in Cincy. In 1998, Wilkinson landed in Washington, where he'd continue to make an impact. The 340-pounder notched a career high in tackles and played the most snaps of any interior defensive lineman.
95, Dan Wilkinson. Darrell Green is with him. Wilkinson scores a touchdown.
After 5 years in D.C., Wilkinson signed in Detroit but never quite regained his footing. He'd play a single season in Miami before calling it quits after the '06 NFL season. The Bengals picked first again in '95, trading up for the best running back prospect in the draft.
The Cincinnati Bengals have selected running back from Penn State, KEYSHAWN Carter.
Number 1 pick KEYSHAWN Carter didn't even make it to opening week, suffering a season-ending knee injury in the preseason. He'd make his NFL debut a season later and showed flashes of brilliance. Carter scored 16 total touchdowns in his first 2 years of game action, but he just couldn't stay healthy. Carter played sparingly for Washington and New Orleans before hanging it up in '04, appearing in just 59 total games. USC star KEYSHAWN Johnson topped the draft board in 1996, just the 3rd and most recent wide receiver to go first overall. The arrival of Johnson and head coach Bill Parcells was a shot in the arm for a Jets squad that hadn't won a division title since 1969.
Touchdown to KEYSHAWN Johnson.
In 3 seasons, the Mean Green went from 1-15 to 12-4, with KEYSHAWN playing a big part in the turnaround. Johnson scored 24 touchdowns in his first 3 seasons, making back-to-back Pro Bowls in '98 and '99. The outspoken star would end up getting traded to Tampa, where he secured a Super Bowl title in 2002.
Quick throw, Johnson. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
Johnson reunited with Parcells in Dallas for 2 more solid seasons. In all, number 19 posted at least 800 yards in all but 1 of his 11 campaigns. Teams expect 2 things out of their coveted number 1 pick: production and consistency, and man, did Orlando Pace deliver. The first offensive lineman to top the draft in 29 years, Pace was a stalwart on the Rams offense for 12 seasons. The 6'7", 325-pound stud paved the way for 3 consecutive MVP campaigns as the greatest show on turf rolled through the NFL.
St. Louis, the gateway to the West, is now the gateway to the best football team in the world.
Between 1999 and 2005, he was named to 7 straight Pro Bowls, while the Rams made 5 playoff appearances, including a Super Bowl title.
The Indianapolis Colts select quarterback, University of Tennessee, Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning's career speaks for itself, and his tenure with the Colts is about as legendary as it gets.
The record they thought would never be broken has been broken.
Manning led Indy to 8 division titles, compiled a record 4 MVPs, and seemingly broke every passing record while guiding the Colts to a Lombardi Trophy in 2006.
The Colts of Indianapolis win Super Bowl 41.
He threw for at least 3,700 yards and 25 touchdowns in each of his first 13 seasons without missing a single game. Even if number 18 retired after his neck injury in 2010, he'd still be considered one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Instead, he capped off his career in Denver like only a legend could.
Peyton Manning has become the NFL's all-time leader in career touchdown passes.
Peyton climbed atop nearly every passing category, won his 5th MVP, and rode into the sunset with his 2nd Lombardi trophy.
Here's a very special moment. The number 1 draft choice and number 1 overall pick, Tim Couch, is in at quarterback.
To finish up our list, we have Tim Couch. After a 3-year hiatus, the reactivated Browns used their top pick on the Kentucky gunslinger in the '99 draft. Compared to our last 2 names, Couch certainly is a bust, but his time in Cleveland was a little more nuanced. Sure, he played just 5 seasons and won just 37% of his starts, but he also battled injuries in a patchwork roster that didn't give him much to work with. He was sacked a league-high 56 times as a rookie. Still, he provided the dog pound with some memorable moments.
Couch, long high ball, lots of guys going for it. Fight in the end zone, it's tied by the Browns! The Cleveland Browns have won the game on a 56-yard pass. Looking long, he's got time. Is this like New Orleans?
The young QB even guided the Browns to a playoff berth in 2002 before injuries eventually cost him his starting job. Couch lasted just 5 seasons in Cleveland, never playing another down after 2003.